think I'm going to stop right there. I'm getting close. Just from here to here, I'm getting close, but I'm still not there, but I don't want to do too much here. I'm going to flip this thing over and get the bottom close. I can always come back to this after I do this. Nope. First thing I got to do is get this real skinny right in here. You can see how tiny this is right there. I've got to bring this way down. Once I get this correct, sort of correct, and this correct, I can connect those two dots. Alright, I have to put an ebony grip cap on that. And looking at this oval, it's a little fat. Just a little bit fat. It's really hard. A circle's easy, you can do that with a compass. Ovals are hard unless you got a drafting board and a table in front of you to just freehand an oval is kind of difficult. But if I take that down to that line now, I've already finished sanded right in there, but I've got to change the shape of this thing. I just don't want to hit this. This is already sanded down to 100 grit, and I don't want to scuff it. That's the hardest place to get into, is that little crease. It is so time consuming to get into a crease and get both edges sanded without scuffing the other one. But I can come back after I get this ebony on and do the finish sanding all the way around. That's a little more symmetrical, the way that comes down, both of them together. Okay, now what I have done, and I'm going to do a little more of, is just surface this and rough it up. This is 100 grit paper on a straight edge block. Sanding cross grain in an X shape cross grain. I'm trying to surface it flat. My piece of ebony, I'm going to sand that cross grain as well to kind of scuff it up a little bit. And I'm going to epoxy that on there. That light, if I can see any light through that, I don't see any light coming through there. And that's just sitting on there, and that'll be clamped tight. When I put my epoxy on there, I'll give it a little pressure, stick that thing on there. Then I can sand this down to this shape. Okay, next thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to degrease this, because ebony has an oil in it, kind of a natural silicone, and I'm going to degrease it with some acetone, and then I'm going to mix up some epoxy and put on both surfaces and smash it on there. I'm actually going to scuff the inside of this up a little bit more than what I just did. The rougher it is, the better it holds. You want to scuff the outer surface of it, but the middle can be scuffed, and it helps it hold better. Okay, this is acetone. It'll kill any grease or oil. Anytime I'm gluing gun pieces and using walnut, I put walnut dust in my epoxy, and it turns it brown, and it makes it less conspicuous, because epoxy being clear, it will make kind of a, just a little gap, a little clear line in your between your two pieces of wood. So I always color it with a little bit of real fine walnut dust. While this epoxy is drying, I'm going to go ahead and take this back off. You can see where the butt plate is probably almost a quarter of an inch inside of this surface. I'm going to take all this surface down here and make it line up with that plate, which is my gauge. Now I've got about a 32nd inch reveal along this metal edge, so that'll give me enough room to. Just a better quit while I'm ahead. I can see this side and this side at the same time. That's pretty symmetrical. That gives me enough to straight block that and sand that out. And take the rest down with the file. I'm going to put a dome, kind of a little rounded edge on it. The edge that shows that here will only be about a 32nd, maybe a 16th. It's just supposed to be a light touch, not a big gaudy thing. I've got this bottom shape, the radius of it, pretty good. I like it from here to here. I've got this roughed down to within about a 32nd of that butt plate. I think I'm going to lay it on its side and work on this cheek piece, get my outline of it, because it's too long and it's too flat on the bottom. It's got to be more rounded. And then I'm going to have to put a dip. There's a concave in that thing all the way from here, and then there's what they call there's a shadow line that goes all the way around it and dies right there and right there. But I need it facing this way before I can do that.